On-site coverage of Resourcing Tomorrow is brought to you by Rio 2.
Hello, we're back. It's day one of Mines and Money, and I'm with Kelly Malcolm, President and CEO of Borealis Mining. Kelly, good to be with you.
Glad to be here.
Mate, I think we caught up last at Beaver Creek, and you were telling me at the time we are imminently about to pour our first gold. Roll forward, you've done 2 gold pours now. Just set up in terms of the company, obviously you're in Nevada. For those less familiar with the company, just give us a little bit of an overview on where you are today.
Sure. So yeah, Nevada focus. We've got 3 assets, one of which we've announced, I think it was October 21st or so, that we are going into full production in Q1. So targeting January, February for first blast, which I'm very, very excited about, as you can imagine. Right now, we're kind of doing test mining, Peter. We're crushing a big stockpile, making sure that our plant's working well, making sure that our team is up to speed and everyone's doing a great job. So we'll do another pour or 2 before the holidays here. And we should be coming to market in the next few weeks, maybe into January, with some guidance for 2026's gold production, which has been a long time coming. We're very, very, very excited about it. And yeah, it's here. Imminent is the right word.
1 or 2 more before the holidays as well. Ambitious.
That's right.
By the
Yes.
sounds of it.
Well,
Okay.
1 at least.
1 at least. How many ounces are you pouring at the moment? I mean, how meaningful is the cash flow that you're receiving on these initial pours, or is this more just proof of concept?
No, it's meaningful. It's a little bit tough with selective disclosure now. As we're going into production, our financials are going to matter more and more, of course, than they do on a typical exploration development story. But we've announced that our pours are roughly 50-ish%, or sorry, 40% gold, 40% silver, 10 to 20% the balance of miscellaneous metals. But we've poured multi-million dollars of US dollars in revenue so far. So meaningful, but not, next year will be really meaningful revenue coming out of the ground.
Obviously, you got a little bit of revenue coming through, fairly meaningful, like you said, in terms of the gold pour.
Yep.
To get into this, you mentioned some blasting coming up, and you've got actually a proper mining operation starting in Q1. Are you funded for that in terms of actually getting into full-scale production? And
Yes.
What would full-scale... You can't mention...
I can't mention, I'll give you some hypotheticals.
Yeah,
anyways,
hypotheticals would be great.
Yes, Peter, we are financed for that. One of the nice things about our test mining or our stockpile crushing is it is guiding, it's cutting down on the capital required. So our only actual real cash cost to start mining it's a working capital bridge between contractors arriving at the mine site, starting the prep work, starting the drill and blast work, loading the holes with explosives. And then there's a residency time when you start putting ore onto a heap leach pad. There's a gap between when you first put that ore and first put cyanide onto the pad before you actually see gold coming out the back end of the plant. So there's a gap in working capital. That'll be alleviated both by our cash position, which we just filed our financials last week. And if you look at the subsequent events in those financials, we brought in over this stock run up that we've had, a huge amount of warrants, options, compensation options. So we're well cashed up. And the stockpile crushing is meaningfully helping alleviate that working capital deficit.
Okay, cool. And then I'm just trying to work out what the future holds in terms of, because obviously you're going into production, you've got quite a lot of historic reserve ounces that from what I remember, or resource ounces that I remember. There's a big expansion opportunity at the Borealis mine to increase the oxide, but then there's also this hugely high grade sulfide material underneath it, which is super exciting as well. Obviously you're set up at the moment to produce from the oxides, right? So
Yes.
How much of a focus and how much drilling are we expecting over the next, say, 6 months, 12 months to really expand that resource of the oxide and really fill up the plant with as much material as possible?
So if I were to put a priority list together, number 1 would be resumption of oxide extraction at Borealis. Number 2 would be advance our development asset, Sandman. Yeah. That's looking to be potentially a 2027 type project. And thirdly would be exploration at both Borealis and Sandman. So we'll come out with, we've been doing a lot of groundwork, a lot of prospecting, a lot of mapping. We've had some really good successes with that, with those endeavors over the past little while. So I would like to update the market with all the work that we've been doing. And I would like to get some more exploration on the go and actually start drilling working towards that expansion. And again, in terms of priorities, oxide is the king. So the sulfides are still on the shelf for now, but they do present a very compelling future opportunity. Because like you said, it's a big resource, very high grade, very continuous, just metallurgically a little bit challenging because they are refractory sulfides. There's got to be some metallurgical magic that happens to monetize those.
On the plant itself, what was the maximum sort of throughput that had been achieved in the past by the old timers? And
so it could do up to 60 to 80,000 ounces a year. It's really driven by manpower more than anything, because it just takes time to strip the gold off of carbon when it's loaded in the plant. If we were to increase a few things, so number one, increase the size of our carbon columns, increase the stripping, the size of our stripping vessel to be able to do more tons of carbon, also increase our furnace. For about $2.4 million US, we could upgrade that to be able to handle about 120,000 ounces per annum out of our existing plant.
so you were talking about this at Beaver Creek. I remember you
Yes.
mentioning these things. Is the goal to have that complete by Q1 in terms of these upgrades, or is
No.
this something that's down the line?
Down the line.
Okay.
So we'll be ideally incorporating both Borealis production and Sandman production through the existing facilities, and we'll work to expand that as really as needed. It's not urgent, not pressing. We've scoped it out. We've done the engineering works. We know what it's going to cost us. When we need to, we'll hit the button and expand.
So okay, so short-term priorities: get the mine into production, full-scale production again in Q1. Obviously, you'll come out with some guidance
Yes.
in terms of what the ounces and the throughput might look like there. In terms of the actual resources, I think some of them, they're still historic, aren't they? But how much is actually in the ground in the oxides and the transition material that we know about that could be put through onto the heap?
So big caveat, forward looking. It's from a 2011 pre-feasibility study, not considered compliant nor current. But if you looked at that document, you'd see about 450,000 ounces of oxide, the balance in sulfide of the 1.8 million M&I. So there's a good chunk. You could do a lot of production out of that material.
And that's
for the time
without
being.
and that's without extra exploration. So you've got at least minimum a couple of years of
Absolutely, yes.
full production with what you have at the moment, and then you can sort of expand
Work
that
to
base.
grow it beyond
yeah,
that,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. And then in terms of Sandman, obviously you mentioned a date there of 2027.
Mhm.
Is that when you start thinking about building, or is that when you want it in production?
So we should. I was hoping we'd have it for this conference. Have a PEA coming out, an updated one from 2023. It better be out before year end. So we'll get that out. We're working towards a pre-feasibility study as well. Simultaneously working towards permitting right now. Actually, I've got a note from our environmental team. They're on site water sampling today. So we're working to push this thing forward. It needs to be permitted, Peter. So target is 2027.
But you don't need a permit for another ADR facility. You're just doing a heap leach,
Essentially a quarry permit
a quarry
with a
permit.
heap leach pad permit as
Right,
well.
okay.
So very limited infrastructure. It shouldn't be overly onerous. Costs should be low. Again, look for that new PEA, but the 2023 one is considered current, so I can stand by that. But all we're really doing with this revision is updating with. There's been a bit of inflation since 23, really not crazy. It was more 2020 to that time period where things really went nuts. Obviously upgrading the gold price, upgrading the sensitivity tables, which I'm really excited about because it is really levered to gold. And the nice thing with all the work we've been doing at Borealis is all the cost inputs that we'll be applying to that study are real. They're from actual quotes that we've been receiving on the resumption of Borealis. So it should be a pretty robust study. I'm really excited about it and look for it soon. I don't know exactly when, but soon.
Obviously, we're at an investment conference here. When you're talking to, there's a lot of fund managers, analysts, and whatnot that are probably coming up to you. Sounds like we were chatting earlier. You've got a really busy schedule at the show. What's the value opportunity at the moment? Why should investors look at Borealis today and say, okay, there's a multiple here, or there's a really good opportunity for a return?
So the easiest one is, I don't know of a single other mining company that is able to go into production without having a big chunk of debt or without having to issue a gazillion shares. we're going to be a cash generator again, with a big caveat, forward-looking statement, next year, as early as next year. And we've got Sandman, which is ludicrously levered to gold. We've got a growth story. We are active. We listed this, actually, you were our first interview as a pubco at Beaver Creek 2024. We listed middle of August, a year and a half ago. We've done a corporate takeover. We've done a nice financing. We've brought in really good people, and we're looking to do more deals. So there's a few different things that people are looking at us for, but I would say growth is the main reason that, particularly in the fund, retail is different and has a different mindset sometimes, but the institutions are here for the growth.
Nice. Okay. And this time next year, where do you think we'll be? What do you want to
Stock
achieve?
price? I wish I could give you guidance
Well,
on that.
not
but,
stock price, but in terms of what are the goals that you want
Yeah.
to have achieved within the next 12 months?
4 quarters of consistent mining. I'd be very, very pleased, and I'd like to see another transaction or two done in 2026.
Amazing. Kelly, thank you for your time.
Pleasure.